had to say what my biggest fear is, it's getting saddled with medical bills and just not being able to pay them off. You know, like, after we got to Wisconsin, it was good for a while, and I lived with my sister. Eventually, me and my sister moved out together. Or more like, my sister moved out with her boyfriend, and then eventually I moved in with them. Just to kind of, you know, say I wasn't living with my parents, because I was already up to, like, 22 years old at this point, so, like, there was no reason for me to still be living with my parents, even though, you know, it was tricky to find a job to actually support or be able to pay bills with that, but, well, he eventually left for Philadelphia, which is it's kind of hilarious to think of how many people I know on the internet that live in Pennsylvania. Because, like, when I first got on the internet, I couldn't help but notice that, like, everybody seemed to live in Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's still the case, really. I don't really pay much attention to where people live. Yeah, so he left and she got with another guy, and, this guy that she got with was, I don't know, I don't like to use words like loser and things like that, because, like, I don't like to judge, you know, because you really never know what someone's been through in their life or what they're currently going through, but it didn't seem like this guy was going through anything. He started out as kind of a drug dealer, and that's how he made his money, but then it became apparent very early on, once she was pregnant with their first kid, they decided, you know, that, or maybe it was more her that decided this, I don't know, but they decided that, man, they didn't want to deal drugs to make a living, you know, like she wanted him to go out and get honest work and stuff, and, well, this guy, I don't know what it was, but he just could not find a job to save his life. You know, I don't know how hard he was really trying as far as that goes, but he lived with us for pretty much a year and 8 months, and did not get any sort of employment whatsoever, and it was just kind of irritating, you know. Eventually I moved out and away from them because I just couldn't take living with them and not having privacy and all that. You know, I wanted to be out on my own, and it was like the first time in my life that I was ever out on my own. By then I was 26. So yeah, I got my first apartment at the age of 26. And I remember sitting in that apartment playing Wind Waker and just feeling completely free of everything and just so good. It was an intoxicating feeling. I mean, my job still sucked ass, but yeah, I won't really get into that. We can talk about that some other time, because let me tell you, there's plenty of stories there. Oh my god. Jeez. Anyway, well, I'm sitting here blowing it up like it's some real funny thing, but anyway. Yeah, after so long of this, like, living with them, I just couldn't take it anymore because he wasn't finding a job and they had kids, and, well, they had one kid at the time, and she was pregnant with the second one. And I just would have thought that the prospect of having kids would have woken him up a little bit and made him realize, like, hey, I'm a dad now, I gotta support these children, I gotta put food on the table for these children. But no such thing happened. There was one time when our power went out, and it was like literally so cold in the house that you could see your breath. And one night I was going down to go to work, and I walked past him sitting on the couch playing video games while his daughter, their daughter, was on the floor just crying her lungs out. And I mean, I'm guessing she was crying because it was cold. I don't really know. I mean, babies cry, you know, so, but he was just sitting there not doing anything about it, you know, like totally ignoring her, just completely immersed in this video game, whatever it was. And that was the moment I realized, like, he doesn't care about this kid. Like, he's not doing anything. He's sitting there idly by while she suffers and doing nothing about it. Not putting in applications online, not going out to look. I mean, not doing anything. And that was the moment I realized I needed to get out of there, so I did, you know, and I got out and got my own apartment, played Wind Waker. It was awesome. And wouldn't you know it, 3 months later, they got kicked out of the house. Because they were supposed to be buying that house, but they got kicked out of it because they couldn't make the payments. Surprise, surprise, right? Anyway. And of course It's just, I had to do something. I couldn't just leave them to go out and sleep in the streets. Not in Wisconsin, hell no. I can barely stand 40 degrees as it is. I don't even want to imagine. But yeah, so they ended up staying with me, but they told me, like, it'll only be a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we'll figure something out. We'll get a place, we'll find something, he'll find a job and all this, and it's like the same song and dance I'd heard a million times before, but no such luck. Me didn't get no job, and they ended up staying with me for 9 months. 9 months with both babies in the house, just crying all the time, and I had no privacy whatsoever. Back then I used to smoke. I couldn't even smoke in my own living room because the kids were there, and obviously I didn't want to, have them living in an atmosphere of that and breathing that in. So, I understood that and all, but still, like, they weren't paying me any rent or anything, compensating me in any way whatsoever. And eventually, I don't know, he got arrested because he failed to visit his parole officer or something. It's a long story, man, let me tell you. Well, let me not tell you. How about that? So eventually, I got so fed up, and I was talking about it. Like, I couldn't hold it in, but like, obviously, I wasn't gonna confront them about it because I'm not a confrontational person. But eventually, I guess people that I knew on the internet had figured out, based on what I was saying in my opinions reviews, about how messed up the situation was, and one of them eventually offered for me to come live with her. She actually made the offer to me and a friend who was living in New York. We were gonna both go live with her in Virginia for like $300 a month straight up, and I'm just like, wow, that's like a dream come true. So I took her up on that, and I packed all my stuff in my car, and on the 1st of May 2004, I took off. I actually had to work that night into the next morning, so I took off the morning of May 1st, having been awake for 13 hours already, and drove 20 hours without stopping all the way to Virginia from Wisconsin. Never forget that, I'll tell you. Good times, though. So, yeah, I went all the way out there and lived with her. And anyway, this friend that was supposed to move down there along with me, well, he kind of backed out because of some crap with his job, saying he wouldn't get a severance package unless he stayed there until January or something like that. So he ended up not moving at all, but it kind of didn't matter because the lady that offered for us to come live with her, well, there were some problems there too, actually. One of the problems was that she had a boyfriend that she never told me about. And it's not like I had a crush on her, it wasn't like that. She was like 20 years older than me. But she had a boyfriend living in the house with her, and I didn't know that until I got there that morning. And I was like, oh, there's another person living here, how about that? But, I didn't care because, like, I'm getting to live somewhere, have a roof over my head for $300 a month, and all utilities included. Like, who would pass that up? That's ridiculous. So anyway, I lived there for 3 months, and this is a guy that she had been with for 7 years. But wouldn't you know it, 3 months after I move into the picture, she decides that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. So she ended up hooking up with some guy, and it turned out to be a guy that my mom had a crush on too, so there's some drama there. We just won't get into it. There's so much we won't get into it, I tell you. But yeah, so I was kind of angry about that because, like, when you say you're gonna do something, you should do it, but this lady just wanted to free roam and just do whatever. And, like, I kind of understand because, like, I mean, in her mind, I could have just stayed with the boyfriend, but I didn't know this person. Like, he was a nice guy and all, but I didn't know him. I never really met him before, and he almost never talked. He was like me, he was extremely shy, so when the two of us were in there by ourselves, like, we'd go hours without saying a word to each other. And the whole time, both of us are probably thinking, oh my god, he hates me, or something like that. I don't know, it sucks being shy, I guess, and paranoid, but anyway, eventually, I just decided, well, okay, I'm gonna go live with my mom now. She was in West Memphis, Arkansas at the time. It's like bordering Memphis, but it's west of Memphis. And apparently the crime was supposed to be really bad there, but anyway. Good lord, I can't believe it. It's like, I got on this soapbox and I just haven't stopped, I tell you. Yeah, so I lived with her for a little while, but eventually she broke up with the guy she was married to because he was a complete dipshit. He was actually trying to, like, scam the insurance company, I guess, because apparently he got some kind of back injury on the job and he was getting compensated for that, like workman's comp, I guess, but eventually he got better to the point that he was able to do work around the house that he was not supposed to be able to do, or so his lawyers thought, and so he was still claiming this on his insurance that he was injured, but he was actually able to work. Yeah, so she broke up with him and I came back to Wisconsin around the start of 2005, so I basically lived in Virginia for the summer of '04, West Memphis, Arkansas for the fall of 2004, and then moved back to Wisconsin basically Christmas morning 2005, so that was interesting. I got my old job back at the bakery. Okay, you know what, I think I'm actually going to stop and take a break here, so let me do that.